Best ever listeners, how you doing? Welcome to the best ever CRE show. And this CRE show is all about AI and how we can incorporate AI, practically speaking, into our commercial real estate businesses. So many people talk about AI and everything that it can do in theory. That's not what this is about. This is about how to practically use AI in your commercial real estate business. And with us today, we have an AI strategist, a growth architect, someone who knows, lives and breathes AI, Jeff Brogger. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me, Joe.
I'm glad to have him on the show. And Jeff is based in Huntington Beach, sunny and beautiful weather, Huntington Beach, California. And you can check out his website. It is jjbind.com. Is that right, Jeff?
That's right.
jjbind.com. And here's what we're going to be talking about today. And then I'll let Jeff, kick it off. We're going to be talking about how to re-engage those leads in your database. You have a database. Not everybody's replying to your emails. You know that. I know that because that's with everybody who has a email database. So how can we use AI to re-engage those leads in an efficient way that is also effective? So with that, Jeff, I'll turn it over to you and just if you could share just a little bit about your background, just so we have some context, and then what your current focus is on as it relates to re-engaging leads that are dead, but we want to bring back to life.
Absolutely. Yes. And thanks again for having me on. So my background really started in direct sales straight out of high school. I was hired and enthralled by the opportunity that the Vector Cutco organization offered. So I was selling knives for about 6 years. Most reps last 2 weeks and quit.
Wow.
I ended up becoming top 1% sales rep and manager ever in that now 90-year-old company.
Wow.
So I very quickly learned direct sales, how to do call sheets, make 10 calls, set one appointment, show up to the appointment, and have a 60% closing ratio, and have an average order and do the math, and then be able to decide what I wanted to make based on my activity.
Wow.
It became a very, very core part of my early career in business from 18 to 24, all through college and then a little after. I got to the point where I wanted to have a laptop lifestyle. I became very interested in the Tim Ferriss 4-hour work week method of being able to have geo arbitrage, make US dollar, live on the Indonesian rupiah or wherever else in the world you want it to be. And, being a local sales rep, I wasn't able to do that. So about 25, 26 years old, I transitioned to marketing. I, oftentimes will start things like Ready, Fire, Aim. So dove in, started an LLC, got one client, and was ready to conquer the world. Well, it wasn't until I invested what I had saved up for a mortgage into consulting to have them help me scale my online business and actually learn how to grow a business online, but how to do that work for others as well. It wasn't until I made that significant investment in myself through that consulting program that I was able to really formalize my agency. I ended up solving a problem, which was automated real estate lead generation and follow-up. That was the problem that I wanted to solve. That was the industry I wanted to be affiliated with. And this was on the residential side at first. But I ended up doing a lot of research in 2018 on the current practices, what was being done. And what I found was that a lot of the leads that did come in were not being followed up within the first 5 minutes. Speed to lead, that was a problem. And then they weren't being followed up with long enough. The 12 to 18 month sales cycle of even on the residential side, right? And commercial can sometimes be longer. So I knew that this was a problem, and I started to scour the internet and the world for any type of solution that could be offered. I kept landing on chatbots, and AI. So in fact, in 2018 and 19 and 20, I was developing AI chatbots that were tied into the MLS, and they were on not only SMS text, but also Facebook Messenger natively. And I ended up developing that and then offering that as a service to the residential real estate industry. Got my license, and I didn't like the residential real estate hours. So I did commercial real estate for about 6 months, did my own lead generation in the multifamily space, and was exposed to what it's like to call on 5 to 50 unit multifamily owners in Orange County, but also set up systems to do that for me. And was able to generate 600 good owner phone numbers within 6 months, and made some progress through that, but I was too distracted. So I went back to my marketing, shut that down. And today, what I'm doing, I am offering AI and marketing consulting as well as implementation for small businesses. I landed a few senior marketing roles after my marketing agency, and I was exposed to some amazing things in the AI world, in the real estate technology world, prop techs. So now, one of the most exciting projects I'm doing and that I want to share with you, Joe, and your listeners today is lead re-engagement through AI voice.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that background. That's helpful to have some context about how you were an early adopter. In my mind, early adopter for AI and helping real estate, albeit residential, but helping real estate because leads are leads. It's just a matter of who is the lead, but leads are leads. So if it was working in back then and now it's continued to evolve, it's definitely going to work now for us. So I know that every as I mentioned earlier, everyone who's got a database, they've got leads that are not engaged, and it's a process to try and identify the ones that are. You can do a re-engagement campaign, but it's an email campaign, right? And then it takes a lot of time. How do you think about re-engaging dead leads to bring them back to life?
Great question. So as you mentioned, so many folks have built up databases over the years, and they only do business with a small percentage of that database. 90% or more of the database is essentially inactive. And unless you have sophisticated marketing automation, you're usually not really touching them. You're not top of mind. So even if you have email, a lot of them might have unsubscribed. If you have text, I doubt many have a sophisticated and effective text marketing, because that is extremely difficult to do without getting unsubscribes. Unless you're like sending specials for a direct to consumer type thing. Very, very difficult to keep people on with text. It's such an invasive type of, you see it within seconds of it being sent. It's a lot of people just say stop, and TCPA restricts a lot of that stuff. So how do you stay on top of all this, especially as you've been in business for 5, 10, 20 years? You have thousands of database contacts. Well, one of the most interesting advancements in technology in the last 2 years, in my opinion, is AI voice. The ability to revive the robocall, right? Robocalls used to kind of hit you, and it would either do a voicemail drop or it would do parallel dialing where it's calling 8 people and then it hangs up on 7 when 1 picks up, but there's a human on the other end. And you're trying to do this like automated outbound scaling AI, scaling voice. Well, now you can have a sophisticated AI voice technology that has a dynamic two-way conversation with your prospect. It's trained on your entire website sitemap, every single piece of media you've ever put out, every single transcript, condensed into markup files that the AI can call back to if you choose to train it on that. And it is good. For a long time, it wasn't good. Now it's good, and it's being deployed to the tune of, currently I have a project that's doing 2,500 dials a day at a 0.5% conversion rate to interested in having a human follow up. So no, it's not closing the deal for you, but it is sifting through the 99% of folks that are saying, not now, not a good time, take me off your list, da 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 da. And then you get that 10%, that 5%, that 1% of people that you're calling that are like, oh yeah, maybe. So I find it fascinating for lead re-engagement because not only is it new, and it's a little bit interesting because of that, but in my opinion, it's a better experience. You oftentimes don't even know that it's AI. I'd say about 10% of the folks that I look at call reviews and listen to the transcripts are like, is this a bot? 90% are going through the flow and saying, you know what? I'm in the car. Yes, thank you so much. Have someone call me next week.
Mm-hmm.
Great. That was a name in your database, yesterday that you had no idea was interested. And now that's a signal for you to follow up. That's a new task for you to do with real interest, genuine interest. I find that so valuable from a sales perspective, because so much time from a sales perspective is spent on activities that don't yield results, but you're trying to go find the next yes, sifting through all the no's.
So is this one clarification question? 2,500 dials a day, half a percentage point conversion rate. How is conversion rate defined? What is a conversion?
Sure. Very good question. So simple math. So everyone doesn't have to pull out their calculator. I mean, they might be driving themselves. 2,500 times.
I'm sorry. Just so my question's clear.
Yes.
I'm not asking about the math. I'm asking about.
I know, but I think it's important. That's why I did it.
Fair enough.
That's 12.5. So what that means is AI voice making 2,500 dials a day. You can expect 7 to 15 people in that day to say, yes, I'm interested in having a human rep follow up.
Got it. So conversion rate equals a scheduled phone call.
Yes.
With a rep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it might not be, the current flow that I'm doing isn't stating specific times. It's not adding it to your calendar automatically. That is stuff we could do. But my current client is more interested in just getting their human reps on the phone with folks that are interested. So they want the conversation a lot sooner. If you had volume issues or sales rep hiring or recruiting issues, you were understaffed, you could have the AI voice agent do more. But currently it's essentially someone saying, yeah, have someone follow up.
And so what program do you use for the AI agents that can speak like humans?
Yeah. So there's a bunch, right? I mean, there's
which one do you use?
There's a few that have been promoting over the last couple of years. The one that I've been using more recently, which is more of a developer type tool, is called VAPI.
VAPI?
Yep. VAPI. Yeah. It's an endpoint tool. So you have to then tie in multiple other tools like Twilio and, whatever AI voice provider you're using, whether it's OpenAI or Cartesia. So VAPI is an endpoint. It's like the centralized dashboard that you build things from, but then you have all these other services that you tie together into it.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So little technical, definitely. I mean, I'm very technical. I build this stuff from scratch, but that's what I'm helping to do for folks. I've blazed the trail so that I can then do it for less for future clients, right? Now I have templates and procedures and processes that can be spun up, and then we swap out the voice prompt and you can get the benefit of this machine doing all of this work for you.
And why not? I know we talked a little bit before recording. I'm just curious, why not use a service like Simple Talk AI versus like VAPI for the listener, not necessarily you, because but for the listener?
Yeah. So there's a couple of reasons I would identify. I don't have a comprehensive competitor analysis between the two, but what I would say is, number one, you have typically less control. There is a lot of customization available in VAPI, so you kind of build it exactly how you want it. Number two, you are paying the retail rate for all of the API. So they are probably using a system like VAPI on the back end and then doubling the price or 10xing the price and charging you per call way, way more. So if you know what you're doing, it can actually be way more affordable. So depending on your call volume, the length of the campaign, there's a break-even point where it makes way more sense to just pay someone to develop it through VAPI rather than if you're going to use this for the next 5 years and you're on the retail model, you're paying extra for every single call made, every single API call made. they're doubling or tripling the cost and then pass that on to you. So that's another reason. The final reason that I would identify is that I think Simple Talk AI focuses a lot on like inbound voicemail routing to AI agents. And so that reduces the customization that you can do for specific database re-engagement. But latency is the big problem. And when you use a lot of the off-the-rack solutions, latency is so long that there's 3 to 5 second pauses between the AI voice responding and the human talking, and they hang up. So unless you can decide where your server is located in the world and where the LLM's pre-trained knowledge is and where the conversation is being transcribed, and not having that ping across the globe and adding seconds to the replies, unless you can centralize it and really deploy a solution that's near real time, you're going to have a lower conversion rate than if you were to just, once again, pay someone to do it right. So that's my opinion with it.
Okay.
Albeit it's biased, but that's my opinion.
I appreciate that. That's why I asked. I wanted to hear your opinion on it. So re-engaging dead leads, you talked about the way that, you know, some of the things that you can do with the phone calls and calling them. How do they identify the dead leads to then re-engage, or is it like, what's the process?
Sure. So if you don't have a large database of opted-in leads, then it does become more challenging. There are other solutions that I could develop for you to help generate that database. And then the AI voice would do the follow-up after they're opted in. That is one big note here, is that TCPA, the regulatory organization that is around, you know, telephone calls, et cetera, text messages, doesn't allow AI outbound calls to non-opted-in users. So if you're doing that just to cold lists, that raises risk of some kind of legal action. Not necessarily that it will happen, but it might happen. You're exposing yourself to risk. However, if you've had folks that opted into lead forms in the past, for example, a lot of times you call someone from a lead form and they're like, I'm on the do not call list. Well, sorry, John, but the do not call list doesn't apply when you submit a lead form for information, right? That's the entire point of a lead form. Like, I want more information. If the do not call list didn't allow anyone to ever call you again, how's the world going to function, especially when you request information? So a lot of folks don't know that detail about the do not call list, but if these are opted in leads sitting in your database, they actually had genuine interest in the past. They're actually a part of your sphere of influence. You've actually had some kind of interaction with them in the past. They know you, or they at least submitted a lead form for a property or for a deal in the past. Those are the types of leads that you would be able to re-engage. And folks have different size databases. Some have a couple hundred. They've never really done out like marketing that consistently grew their database. Others have thousands. This particular client has 30,000. So when it gets to that level of scale, it does become difficult. You have 8 SDRs, sales development reps, call through it all the time, and you have all of that overhead cost, or you build a system like this for a fraction of the cost to do the same.
Anything else that you think we should talk about as it relates to re-engaging dead leads that, after hearing, what you say, the listener can go practically do something and implement it?
Yeah. I would encourage them to think about omnichannel. I was really into
omnichannel.
Omnichannel outreach.
Okay.
I was really interested in omnichannel in 2018, 2019. We were using Facebook Messenger, email, Facebook ads, and text. So 4 channels, right? And so I would think about omnichannel when you're attempting to re-engage leads. For example, just because they unsubscribed from email.
And sorry, just real quick, omnichannel outreach is a marketing and sales strategy that involves engaging customers and prospects across multiple communication channels in a coordinated and integrated way. So just talking to people across a bunch of different things in a coordinated way. Some people might not, non-marketing people might not know that. I just didn't want to lose them before you started talking about that.
You're like my Jamie from Joe Rogan. You're Google a definition. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yes, it's called I suffer from the law of familiarity, as we all do.
Right.
You're so familiar with something because you've been doing it for so long that you just say things and people don't understand. So thank you for that. Omnichannel, I would consider omnichannel a key aspect of lead re-engagement. So for example, if you have database contacts, even if they did unsubscribe from email, you can add them to custom audiences on meta advertising and show up in their Instagram or Facebook feed. Get them to opt in to something new, right? So now you do have them on email again. Or if you have emails, but you don't have phone numbers and you want to do AI voice outreach, you could use that email list to start to capture phone numbers by sending out offers with forms with phone number mandatory fields, or by running ads on Meta again to that custom audience and capturing phone number. So it's about identifying your goal. If the goal is, hey, we don't have enough phone numbers, then you can use the data you have and new data to get phone numbers. You can standardize phone number as a required field moving forward. If you do have phone numbers and folks have text stop, but you have email, you could do email to reach them and get them back on your text, right? Omnichannel. You could also do website visitor tracking. So when folks in your database are visiting your website, it's sending a ping to your CRM. Now you know, oh, this user just spent 5 minutes on our website. What page did they view? Oh, interesting. They were looking up our past deal that we just did a case study about. They're opted out on email, but I got their phone number. I should give them a call. Intelligent outreach, right? Thinking about it from an omnichannel perspective. And a lot of this today, if once you formalize those systems, can be aided by AI. AI can be flagging those types of opportunities in your CRM. It can be sending you text message notifications based on certain activities that your database is doing. You can start to focus on marketing campaigns that generate buzz and then be able to have automation follow up afterward. For example, if you send a newsletter, you can have an automation to follow up in 3 days with a personal email to everyone that opened it or to everyone that replied, or a
and what system is used there?
I use HubSpot for that, but these are concepts. These are things that can be used in many different systems, especially if you're familiar with a tool like Zapier, where you can, it's like digital duct tape. You can kind of automate anything. In a more advanced version of Zapier that I'm currently using, where you can get really, really creative with that. So yeah, all this can be done.
Well, Jeff, thanks for being on the show and educating us on approach to re-engage dead leads. How can the best ever listeners learn more about what you're doing?
So the best way to learn more about what I'm doing is to visit jjbind.com, short for JJB Industries. That's my consulting firm. And also I'm active on LinkedIn. I post multiple times per week with clips from longer form talks like this. And you can always, reach out and connect with you there.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thanks for being on the show. I hope you have a best ever day and talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Joe. Hope this was valuable for your listeners, not too far over their head. But if they have any questions, please just reach out to me. I'm happy to have a free discovery call. And, if you even mention best ever as the source of you hearing about me, and we do move forward with something, I'm happy to give you 10% off your project just for being a best ever listener. So thank you so much for having me, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.